Welcome to the Jackie Takeover, the podcast where two single moms from different states try to survive life, raise teens, and chase dreams. Sometimes we laugh so hard we forget to cry. So grab a snack, maybe a glass of wine, and buckle up because we're about to get real and maybe a little ridiculous.
So we're back for part 2 of the Phantom 4. So now it's my turn. We're just going to get right into it, okay? So you have had 4 loves of your life, or so we thought. I have also had 4 what I thought were loves of my life. Well, maybe 3.5. We'll get to the last part in a little bit. But my first love was when I was 15. And it was probably the only love that I've ever felt that was, to me, unconditional at the time. But then later on, I found out that it was definitely very conditional because I just felt like I was constantly chasing until I got him. And I was 15. I fell in love. We were so close. We were like best of friends for a long time. And my mom decided that she wanted to move us all the way out to East Jabib. And I ended things. And that was probably the hardest heartbreak of my life, and probably his as well. He still resents me to this day, and he will tell you that. He never really got over it. And he's really never loved anyone the way he loves me. And I've really never felt anyone love me the way he loved me as well. So it's always been what I thought the one who got away, until we kind of met up years later and went to a baby shower together and realized that the both of us probably dodged bullets not staying together.
Oral bullets.
And not being together. So as much as I felt it about him, he probably also felt it about me, given our conversations. So that was that. And
But what happened at this baby shower?
I mean, everything was fine. I think it was just after the fact of really realizing that we were 2 different people, that we really didn't see eye to eye on certain things. And that's fine. Like nothing's ever going to be peachy key and rainbows and butterflies. You're going to have disagreements. You're going to have different thought processes than others and things like that. And that's absolutely okay. But I think we're at a point where we grew up so much apart that if we had gotten back together, the relationship definitely wouldn't have lasted. It's like teaching an old dog new tricks. It's just not something that it wasn't something that was gonna be healthy for either one of us. And especially given like our childhoods and stuff, very similar, but we were on very different paths. Like he was the type who held on to things and held grudges and like resentment, to where I'm much different. Like I forgive, I don't forget, but I move on, I move past it, because if I just hold that in, it's gonna constantly be a reminder, and it's just gonna be pain and just stress, and it's gonna eat away at you. And I'm a firm believer of letting things go and letting people be, because I have my own life to live, and I'm not going to let things hold me back from happiness. And I don't need any more stressors in my life at all. So that's where I was at with that. So I mean, given a quick conversation after our meetup, it was very clear that it was just something that wasn't going to ever flourish again. And I was absolutely okay with that. That's why you got the black button, okay? Black. Black, 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 black. Okay? That's what we're doing. We're just blacking and moving. That's it.
I think that's awesome that you recognize that right
Oh, yeah,
away.
for sure. I mean, the thing is, like when you live in patterns, you kind of like, you get it after a while. Like once you become like emotionally aware and emotionally intelligent, and you see things for what they are, and you kind of go, wait a minute, my body recognizes this. I kind of have to like move, dip and dodge in a different way. That's how my body
Mhm.
felt. So I just was like, yeah, maybe this isn't it, you know? And maybe I should just left him right there in the past at 15 years old. And then we would have been fine.
That's like my fourth grade over the water fountain. Yes. He should have stayed back there.
Absolutely. And then a couple years later, I obviously had a relationship in between that really didn't go far. We were together for a few years, but we were a long distance relationship, and that just wasn't something that was going to pan out. But then I met Mr. Pool Hall. And by Mr. Pool Hall,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
AKA my ex husband, my first and only marriage. A disclaimer, this is a trigger warning for anybody who has been involved in, domestic violence cases and things like that. There are things that I'm going to say that may be triggering. So if you want to skip through, I have no issue with that. We met in a pool hall, and again, chased and continued a chasing pattern until I got him. And here we are. We were kind of sort of living together, but not really. And then because of his religion and his culture, we had to get married. So we were together for like a year and a half before we really got married. We got married on a Friday. It was after Juma praying the mosque. And leading up to that day, he asked me a million times if I wanted to take my Shahada. I told him no, because it's not something that I was familiar with. It's not something that I really didn't know. And I wanted to look into more, and I really wanted to do it for myself. And
What's a shahada?
it's basically taking your claim to Islam, like being baptized,
So
but
converting.
yeah, but converting to Islam.
Okay.
So it was so heavy and kind of like pushy, even though I told him I wasn't ready, that I did, but it didn't really mean anything to me. And I really regret that at this point in time, because learning about the religion afterwards and taking my Shahada then, I really wish that I would have looked up on it and embraced it for what it was then, so I could actually live my life that way. But at the time, it just didn't align with who I was. And does it align with who I am now? I'm not really sure. There's days that I want to go to church, and there's days I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. But what really threw me for a loop was the way he was after we got married. I mean, I always knew that there was something a little off, but I take it as people have their flaws, and none of us are perfect. Because trust me when I tell you, I am the furthest thing from perfect. Okay.
None of us are.
None. Okay. I am like, I sin and I need to repent right away, but I keep going. So that repent really doesn't mean anything. But no, we got into a relationship. We were really young and got married young. And I wound up getting pregnant, and I lost that pregnancy. And then I wound up getting pregnant again, and I have my beautiful daughter. She's going to be 18 come this July.
Crazy.
And I had a very rough pregnancy, super rough pregnancy, but I had an even rougher marriage. And the moment I knew that I wasn't safe, there was actually a few moments I knew I wasn't safe, but the one that really stuck out to me was him being a chauffeur, driver a very for a businessman who was involved in things that kind of rhyme with porn. Yeah. So basically what had happened is he kind of took an advance on pay, and he couldn't pay back. So his boss was looking for me. And I said, under absolutely no circumstances are we doing that. It's not happening.
Girl.
Yeah, so it was a really big to do. But then I found out that I was pregnant not too long after that. I was married. I didn't want to break up my family, et cetera, et cetera. So I wound up getting so sick. I mean, so sick to the point where I have a condition called hyperemesis brevidarum, which is severe weight loss and vomiting during pregnancy.
Wow.
And I went from being a solid 151 pounds, like I'm grieving my pre-baby body as it's me
I
going into
like
my
it.
going
Like,
into my 40s.
where are you going right now? Because your whole face, like, you just teleported somewhere else.
I'm definitely
Like,
grieving that pre-baby body. But I went from 151 pounds, rock solid, beautiful figure, to being 97 pounds in 6 weeks, malnourished in the hospital
Jackie.
on IV hydration, couldn't keep anything down, was on a Zofran pump, like you name it, it was happening to me. I couldn't stand the smell of meat, couldn't stand the smell of him, couldn't stand the smell of anything. I just wanted everybody to be away from me. That's how bad like everything was for me at that point.
Wow.
So fast forward going into my second trimester, we actually lost our apartment because naturally I was the breadwinner. Hyper independent, individual woman, very independent, very giving and caring and being taken advantage of constantly. So we wound up losing the apartment because I lost my job, obviously. I was at work for like almost 2 months. And him and I had gotten into an argument. And as I was trying to pick something up to bring it down the stairs, he kicked me down the flight of stairs while I was 5 months pregnant with my oldest. I almost lost her.
Wow.
It was a really eye-opening moment that I knew, like, psychologically, I knew that he was doing a lot of damage to me, but I was strong. I thought I was strong enough to kind of overcome those things and like fight my way through. But once it started to get physical and I was pregnant and he just had the audacity and the total disrespect of not only me, but his unborn child at that point, I said to myself, this is going to go one of two ways. I'm either going to stay and I'm going to wind up being 6 feet under and my child is going to live without a mother, or I really need to figure out how to get out of this and do it by myself. So long story short, we moved out to Pennsylvania with his aunt. We stayed there for a little bit, and I just felt trapped. And it wasn't because of the family. A lot of it was because of the culture. They don't listen to music and they don't watch much TV unless it has to do with the news, things like that. So, like, I just constantly felt that I was just like a bag swinging in the air, and I just didn't know what to do. I was so depressed. I wasn't around my family. I had no friends around. Actually, my best friend at the time, Kathy, who also lives in Florida, we've been best friends since we're 9. So we're going on like 30 years of friendship this year.
Hint, hint. Where should you go?
Yeah, I know, right? Her and her husband, well, it was her boyfriend at the time, he's her husband now, would drive out there and come pick me up so I can go to my appointments, my doctor's appointments. So I was explaining to her like what was happening, and him obviously because he was in the car, and her husband's like my big brother. Like he's like literally the brother I never had. He's my voice of reason. He's my rock. He's one of my best friends, and obviously through her, but we've adapted our own friendship over the years because of her. And he was just like, no, we got to get you out of there. And I went back after my doctor's appointment, packed up my stuff. I called my dad and I told my dad what was happening. And my dad was like, I'm coming. I'll be right there. And now mind you, it was like an hour,
Yeah.
hour and a half drive. And my father was there in almost 45 minutes. And
So you had not told anything to your father or your best friend or her husband
mm-mm,
this the whole time.
nope, didn't tell him anything until I was like, something's got to give. Because I knew that it
Yeah.
was going to be something that wasn't healthy and that it wasn't going to end well. So my dad came and he picked me up, and, you know, my ex-husband, tried to argue with him. And my dad was like, listen, he's like, if you don't turn around and go back in the house, he was like, I'm going to put you in a box and in the ground. He's like, so I suggest you keep it pushing.
Go,
Okay.
Dad.
And that's what he did. He kind of like shut up and went in the house, and I left, and I didn't see him for a couple months. And then it was time to have Jono. And I stupidly told him about my last appointment and what day it was. So he went with me. Turns out that I was actually in active labor. And because I was such a high risk pregnancy, the doctor was like, no, I want you to get to the hospital. And I was like, I didn't even finish packing my bag. Like, nobody's around, you know? So here I am calling my foster mom, like, Mom, it's happening. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, they're telling me I'm dilated and they want me to get to the hospital and all this stuff. So we get back to the house, I grab things, and then we go to the hospital. And Kathy was my birthing coach. And the doctor was so upset with my ex-husband that he kicked him out of the room.
Oh, go ahead,
And
doctor.
Kathy was in there. She helped me deliver Jenna. And it was the most magical and magnificent day of my life. I'll never forget that day. And I just knew from that moment that life was going to be real hard and real quick. And we'll talk about it in the next episode, but this is what really brought me to understanding what postpartum depression was. Is blood thicker than water? Is family really family when times are tough? Or is chosen family better? It was a really eye-opening experience for me raising my daughter, and the things that I felt and not being seen, you know, those things really were the epitome of what made me who I am today. Fast forward a couple years, I was out of that marriage and we basically had it annulled and he was long gone. He tried to like bring me back to corporate child support, visitation stuff, and Charles, oh my God, that's a whole nother story because he was just a very absent dad and just made every excuse under the book not to really see her or why he couldn't see her, and then literally went to court to put himself on child support and then turn around and offered $5 a week. And I literally looked at the mediator and I was
$5.
like,
The audacity.
I'm still trying to find the audacity, okay? I turned up this,
Stay looking for it.
I looked at the mediator and I was like, I can't even buy a gallon of milk, a carton of eggs, and bread with $5 a week. It's going to take me more to get there in gas than it is for me to get groceries. Like, are we kidding right now? I was like, no. And then I wound up getting full custody of her.
Yes.
Which in turn made me want to join the service, and I went to a recruiter and all of that. And they told me the only way that I was going to be able to do that is if I had shared custody with someone, because if I was able to get in and do all of these things, like they wanted to get me in right away. So I wound up going and talking to my aunt, who Jenna was staying with at the time, so I could go back to school. And that was basically her way of getting in and making me the villain in her story and trying to be the savior in hers. So, but that's for a different episode.
Girl, there's a whole episode for that
Yes.
situation.
But then fast forward, and I was engaged for 9 years and together for 12. So
It's a long time, girl.
the forever I thought I was going to have, but never had. And it's fine. I mean, we grew apart. There was things that happened early on in the relationship that should have been like the biggest red flag running across my face. But my problem is that I've always held on to potential instead of the reality of things. And again, putting myself back into the cycles of proving my worth and proving me worthy of love and the person that I am, and trying to prove that I am this person that everyone can count on. And I've learned through the years that you just need to be you, and whoever sees you for you is going to stay, and whoever doesn't is going to go, and that's okay. Like, you can't hold on to everybody. And that really stems from a lot of abandonment issues I've had since I was a kid, and always being the people pleaser. So these are all the lessons that I have learned throughout the years and that I've taken into the relationships over and over and over again. That was just a relationship that we were really apart, and we really probably shouldn't have even started that, but we did, and I fought like hell for it. I mean, to some degree, he probably did too. Trust me, I wasn't perfect in that relationship at all. Okay. I had my fair share of toxic moments that I'm not proud of. I also probably shouldn't have fought for it or stayed as long as I did. When I did leave the first time, it should have been done and gone. And I didn't because loneliness is a motherfucker.
Yes, girl.
when
Yes.
you feel like, oh my God, I'm gonna be lonely for the rest of my life. And at that age, because I was like, what, 30 maybe at that point, I was like, nah, I don't want to be forever. I don't want to be alone forever. Now, now 10 years later, I'm like, shit,
Yes.
please just put me on a beach somewhere with a book. I'm good.
Right. Ask me now,
Yeah, ask me now. I'll tell you later.
Yes, I think that's probably why men say it's so much harder to date women in their late 30s or early
Yeah,
40s
because
because
we're good.
yeah.
We
We're
are
good.
good. We are good. We are
We're good.
A-okay.
We have been through enough where we truly understand that we actually prefer it. It's nice to be alone, to be able to focus on ourselves, to be able to just grow
Yeah.
into to
Reap
our
all
own.
the
You know who you
sacrifices.
are.
Reap all the
Yes.
sacrifices we made for everyone else over the
Remove
years.
distractions, all of that,
Yes.
and do
Mm-hmm.
everything you've been doing, like you just said,
Mm-hmm.
doing everything you've been doing for everybody else. It's like something just opens up and you're like, nobody's doing this for me,
No.
and what's stopping me from doing it for myself?
Mm-hmm.
Let's be done with waiting for somebody else to give us that same level of energy
Mm-hmm.
and give it to ourselves.
Yeah, for
And this
sure.
is why they're it's much more difficult,
Yeah.
and it's also much harder for us to get pulled back into cycles.
Mm.
Red flags are now like it's like they have glowing lights behind
Yeah.
them
They're
now. uh
LEDs. They're like,
yeah,
here lies the
you
red
know
flag. I know.
yeah.
But that brings me
And
into my fourth and final
okay,
phantom. I'm hoping this is my final phantom. Because
we're praying to Jesus for that one.
literally,
Take the wheel,
because
Jesus,
yeah,
take the
I,
wheel.
I need I need it. WWJD, because I need it. No, but so earlier this year, after being single for about a year and a half, I wound up dating a relative of someone who I briefly dated, but nothing happened. We went on one date and he ghosted me after that. So I was like, okay,
And this was a relative of such person.
such person, yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
everything was going great. And like in the beginning, we had already talked and it was just supposed to be a friendship and things were just supposed to kind of like organically happen from there. Well, your boy put in some real good effort. Effort that I don't think I've ever seen ever. Like when I tell you that pursuing was pursuing, it really was. The actions were there and the words that were said before that were like, what is this? What is happening? Because what you said before isn't happening now. They're not adding up. But I like the effort. So let's see what this is. Well, I don't know. It was like a couple weeks, maybe almost 2 months into like things. And he kind of did the Houdini effect.
Ah,
And
the reason for the whole naming of
the
this
Houdini effect.
actual effect,
Mhm.
calling it the Houdini
Yeah.
effect. Okay.
So popping in and out, and when I basically asked for clarity, I saw myself repeating the same patterns, like trying to prove my worth, trying to hold on to potential instead of the reality. And that's where I kind of went down the line of disrespect of myself. We could still be friends. We could still hang out. We could still whatever, like whatever space you need is fine. And that really didn't align with who I was or what I was really looking for. Because at the time when we started talking, I really wasn't looking for anything. I was just kind of like go with the flow. But I'm trying to break myself into more of an intentional space in my life now where I want peace, and I want someone to share special moments with, hard moments with, easy moments with, like all of it. And I don't think anyone really wants those things at this point. I think everyone in our age group and older at this point is kind of like stuck in their old ways. Like no one really wants to budge on bettering themselves and seeing people for who they are, especially like people who have been in long relationships. Like I was in a long relationship. I was with someone from the time I was 26 up until 2 years ago. So till I was 37. That's a really long time, 37, 38. And at this point, I'm I'm good solo, but I would definitely love someone to share moments with. Whatever that brings, I have definitely learned in those 4 chapters of my life what I'm willing to tolerate and what I'm not willing to tolerate. And I just want someone to match my effort and maybe even put a little bit more effort into, because like a wise woman once told me, a woman should always be the beloved. And I want to be the beloved now. I'm tired of chasing things that show no interest in me until I prove my worthiness to them. I want someone to come in and see how worthy I am and how deeply I feel and how much I do love and care, because my friends see it. I just want somebody to see me the way my friends see me now. And
Yeah.
it's just, that's just where I'm at with like all of that. But yeah, my Phantom 4 definitely shaped the way I move now and how I see things and how I will definitely hit that block and delete button quick, fast, and in a mother flicking hurry. Okay.
Yes, girl. Otherwise, will keep finding ourselves in those same cycles.
Yeah.
I always say that I feel like I sometimes, like, is there a sign on my forehead? Because I attract the same kind of people. They look different, but the same kind of people, the same type of personalities. And I think that does stem from like our childhood and being people pleasers.
Yeah.
My name is Jacqueline Gonzalez, and I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah.
I'm working on that though.
Same.
You know?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Working on that. But because of that, it attracts a certain type of person with certain type of personalities and characteristics, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that, and they find it every time. But thinking about my Phantom 4, listening to you and your Phantom 4, we've been in fight or flight for a really long time, girl. And I know a lot of women probably spend the majority of their lives in fight or flight, whether it was from childhood or from past relationships. We all out here on that struggle bus,
Yeah.
trying to
And
find that right person.
And honestly, there's a lot of men that are on the same struggle bus.
Same.
And they
Yeah.
have such
Yeah.
trust issues and things like that with women. And a lot of it stems from like their parents, their mothers, especially. And it's it's really unfortunate that we're all trying to survive the exact same traumas, and we're still bringing it into the same bullshit all over again.
I just need everybody to stop the cycles so we can all find each other.
Yeah.
Please stop it.
Cycles, for sure.
Break these cycles so that we can meet each other, so we can find each other and get on the same page. But one of the things that I was reading, that because I'm into the self-help book, I didn't have a lot of people around me to kind of steer me the right way. So a long time ago, I found my way through self-help books. And I hate that they're called self-help books because it makes it seem like you read self-help books. No. Yes, I do.
There's nothing wrong with
Mel
self-growth.
Robbins. It's my favorite.
Yep.
But yes, it taught me how to build my own self-confidence and so much more. But there'll be an episode where I talk about the holy grails back there for me. But recently reading into fight or flight, and one of the things that I learned that I didn't think about or realize is that I associate fight or flight with physical abuse. And what I didn't realize is that you can be in fight or flight as an emotional response to things, down to my fear of getting on airplanes.
Your fear of heights.
I've always called it anxiety. It's not. It's my body is going into fight or flight.
Yep.
We're going to be talking about that in the 2026 episode coming up next. I think about my Fender 4 and your Fender 4. We've improved, right?
Yeah.
And I have been in and out of a relationship for the last 11 years, not engaged. I found myself saying out loud, he has always loved me better than any man has loved me, right? And sometimes that feels amazing to me. And then there are times where that makes me feel really sad.
Yeah.
Because that also means, where's my bar, right?
Yeah.
How high or how low is that bar? But the reason for it being in and out is there's an emotional aspect to it. And in that emotional aspect that I've realized in reading about fight or flight is that I still have been in fight or flight this entire time. It has never stopped. What that does to a person when you're in constant fight or flight, and you know, a little bit about my history is I've kind of been that way since I was a child. We find ourselves repeating these cycles, but when you're basically ignoring it, your body will respond.
Yeah, it's that physiological response.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. This year, we are taking ourselves out of that fight or flight and stopping those cycles so that we can find our way to that right person. Because I just feel like if we don't do that, or we don't start working on that, we're going to find ourselves continuing to attract the wrong people.
Continue
Like
to
you
set
said,
the
there's
bar
men
in
out
hell.
there. Yes. Girl, let's pick it up. Let's pick that bar up
like
off
that
the
limbo,
floor. Like
that limbo
physically.
stick. You know that limbo stick?
Pick it up off the floor.
Yeah, we got to reset the limbo stick for sure.
Yes, because I can recognize the flags of men who are abusive, emotionally draining, but there's more stuff out there that we have not encountered that I do not want to encounter.
Yeah,
I do not
for sure.
want to. I'm done with the lessons, Lord. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm done with the lessons. Bring me the blessings.
Okay. Yes, please, baby Jesus, please. But I mean, at the end of the day, we have survived. Others have survived things, and we are improving. We are doing better than the last time, but there's so much more to go after before we have another lesson to come at us. So I appreciate you sharing your stories, and I hope that this resonates with someone out there. Know that you are doing the right things, and that you learn a little bit something from our experiences.
Yeah, I mean, that's all we're doing is learning through experience. Yeah. I just wish I knew then what I know now, because I probably would have dodged many bullets. Okay? I'd be in full armor. I would have been in a bulletproof vest.
Correct. I'm like, I needed my vest. I'm about to make sure I'm stepping out the house. Listen,
wrapped and loaded.
On, fully. Listen, with an extra thick plate, you know what I'm saying? An extra thick plate up in there.
Absolutely. I'm just waiting for Cupid to come fly and really get me. But get me right this time. Don't be flying and just shooting like drunken bow and arrows, okay? Because ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. No, not
at all.
Absolutely
yes. Not. So while we're talking about that, I have so many plans, because you know, a girl did a lot this year, but I have so many plans for 2026. Some of them involving you. Don't get scared. Crazy things that I have in store for us for 2026. Oh God. So see you on the next episode.
All right, y'all. If you made it this far, congratulations. You officially survived another episode of the Jackie Takeover. Please collect your emotional support beverage at the exit. And listen, if we said anything to offend you today, journal about it. Then come back next week, because we're probably going to say something worse. Make sure you follow us, like us, DM us, and send us some snacks. Honestly, at this point, send us anything, because we're running on vibes and iced coffee, and maybe a Celsius or two. This is the Jackie Takeover signing off, reminding you that life is messy, girlfriends are necessary, and if you see us in public, mind your business, but also say hi, okay?
Bye.
Bye.